Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe and to share. I hope that a lot of these conversations are validating for protective parents who are trying to protect their children from an abuser who is alienating them from the protective parent. So people ask me why I don't use the word alienation because I see it from a more clinical perspective. I see that, yes, the abuser is alienating, right? But what's happening is the child is losing their attachment to the parent that they should feel safe with, right? And so it is a malicious fracturing of attachment that impacts the child psychologically. What can we do? We can recognize that attachment is a need that virtually every child needs, right? It's like an innate need, right? And that attachment is very much related to authenticity. Gabor Mate talks about this, and so do many other wonderful experts in the field. If I can't feel authentically myself, if I have to shape shift when I go to other people's houses, my abuser's house, my grandparents' house, whatever it is, children are learning at a very young age that people are not accepting them for who they are. They can't be their authentic selves. They are not loved unconditionally. And so what is happening by that is that the secure attachment that we believe every child virtually needs, that was created, by the way, very young. Bowlby and Ainsworth's work talks about ages 0 to 3, where children have this, right? But you can have it, and it doesn't mean that someone doesn't come into your life, and it could be a parent, to disrupt it. Because if I can disrupt that from my child's life, if I can create a space where I'm disrupting it, they will not feel as connected to the healthy, safe parent. And they know I'm not safe if I'm the abuser. So they're not connected to me. They are untethered. They're literally untethered. And in that, there's a feeling of significant unsafety, right? I never feel safe. I never feel like I can be myself. I never feel like I can't be valuable. How could I be valuable and valued when I live in a world where no one values me, where I'm not valuable enough to be loved just as I am? And so, really creating the space where children begin to see clearly that this is their experience is a challenge. It's a challenge. And we, as protective parents, cannot disparage the abuser. We can't put down the abuser because the abuser is constantly putting us down. And then we sound just like the abuser. We don't want to sound like the abuser. We want to help the child differentiate. There is a clear distinction between me and that abusive parent. It's clear. And so, where does that come from? That comes from fortifying the attachment by connecting, not correcting as much, but by connecting, by becoming a coach versus like a corrector, right? Becoming their best teammate, letting them know that you're on their team, that you get what's going on. It's the elephant in the room. We can't say that dad or mom is an abuser, but we certainly know what's going on. And together, we're going to handle this. So if you're going to come home and you're really frustrated and angry and you're going to call me a horrible name, I'm going to get that that's not personal. I'm going to get that you've been programmed, you've been taught that you need to treat me that way. And I'm going to say, you know what? Don't worry about it. I get it. Now, does that mean that they get to do that all the time? How do we create like some boundaries? We certainly do. We certainly do. We say, you know what? Please don't call me that name. Thank you so much for not calling me that name anymore. I really appreciate it. Gosh, I wish that we didn't use that kind of language in our house. So we create a very clear boundary that is not shame impactful, that gives our children space to see that we are, again, creating that boundary, that we are not falling into their prey. The abuser wants them to pull us in. My brother used to say, we're like pigs in mud, like the abuser's a pig in mud, and they're trying to pull us in. And every time we go in there, we're in the mud with them. Now they're training our children to pull us into the mud. That's what they're training our children to do. How do we keep ourselves out of the mud? We disengage kindly with empathy. I get that this is hard, but please don't call me names, or I'm really sorry that happened. But I really don't appreciate name calling or putting down or diminishing behavior. In our family, we all want to be cared for in a kind way, right? We words, not you can't do this. You shouldn't do that. And so people ask me all the time, why do children align? Why does this happen? Why did the adult victim align? Why do prisoners of war, according to Biderman's research, align? There's a wearing down of our autonomy, of our agency. There's an inability to know what we should know. Now I'll add that on a developing child's brain. The psychological harm and trauma is absolutely like horrifying. Frankly, it's an unacknowledged child abuse. Abusers do not love our children. They don't know how to love. Abusers do not love our children. They never loved us. They never loved us. They don't know how to. They're so filled with shame. I'd love to come back in the next YouTube and talk a little bit about that buildup of shame. So I'll see you next time. Bye.